We're live.
Oh, we know.
Starting it off right. Starting it off
There you
right.
go. Anytime.
So
You're just doing it on Twitch, right?
Twitch, YouTube, Kick, all the good old chats, giving us a chance to hit everywhere we possibly want to. So it is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. What the hell do we want to talk about?
I don't know. How about this Subway $6.99 commercial I'm watching right now?
Why are you watching? Okay, well, I guess give us the views.
I don't know. I always pull it up and put it off to the side screen so I can kind of watch it as I'm doing stuff.
Yep. All right, so I'll start us off. So the way we're going to kind of work this today is I'll kind of give my background on who I am, what I've done with my 44 years of life. I don't know if we have enough time for all of that. And then obviously while Cody is talking, I will probably be munching on a little bit of food. And then we can go into what Cody's, how many years of life?
31. 30? Let me just calculate this. 30, I think it's 31.
31 years of life and experiences. And by no means are we experts in anything we're talking about, but we do have experience in certain things, and we
have experience in a lot of things.
Yeah. We'll leave it up to chat. We could talk about the legendary Lou Holtz that and his career at Notre Dame. He passed away today. I don't think Cody's got much insight into the sports world, but
all I got for that is rip, coach. See you later.
And then we'll see what chat wants to talk about a little bit, but we'll go into, we won't hit the lovely topics of politics that much. Again, by no means are we experts on pretty much anything we're talking about, but we've got experience and we've got insight. So I'll start us off. My name's Travis. Hi, Travis. I feel like I'm at an AA meeting or something. Name's Travis. I am 44 years old. Grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania for 21 years of my life. Did go to an amazing school, Lackawanna Trail. Go Lions. Great small town feel, and I love going back there. Never want to live there again. Hate the winters, but love going back and seeing everybody and seeing how things have changed over the years. Did again grow up on a dairy farm. Both my parents are divorced. I don't think that really matters. And then so I've got a lot of experience with schedules, making them, following them. And then so I went off to college, started 1 year, 1.5 to 2 years at one university, and then decided living outside of home was not for me to be structured to go to college. Then I went to a local college near home, got my degree in accounting and finance. So yes, I am an accountant. No, I do not do taxes. So no tax questions. I can't help you with any of that. I barely even do my own taxes. And then moved to Florida right after college. During college, had my daughter. Had moved to Florida, moved from Daytona, Florida to Orlando, Florida, where I had my son, Aiden, who is Ghostly in the chat, and maybe will be joining us on one of these podcasts one day. And so I've spent about 20 years now in and around accounting. I do a lot of stuff around the house. I'm pretty much a jack of all trades, master of none. So,
Amen, brother.
Have played video games since the Atari. Yes, the Atari. And big, wholesome family guy. Love being around family, chatting, catching up with everybody. And yeah, that's about it. I've coached football, coached softball, have coached baseball before at youth levels. I played sports going all the way up to high school. Didn't really do much in high school as far as sports went. Ended up doing wrestling in high school, and that was about it. Living on a farm doesn't make it easy for your schedule to incorporate sports when you have to milk the cows 2 times a day and be there for them. So kind of wish I got a chance to do that, but I was able to coach my kids in multiple sports, so that was kind of nice. My daughter is 21 now, and my son is 18 at the moment. So yeah, that's my background. Now Cody gets to talk.
Oh man, it's like my specialty is talking. No, I'm just kidding. I hate talking. I'm Cody. I grew up, well, I'm still growing up, I guess, in Wisconsin. Best cheese state in the whole world. Which grew up helping on my grandparents' farm a lot, my great uncle and aunt's farm a lot. Things like that, going to school. My parents are also divorced. So between, farming and divorced parents and school and work, the schedule system is so lovely. Went to college for math and history education and political science, but our lovely governor decided to change the rules, and I would have had to retake everything that I had already taken. So while doing that, I worked doing some landscaping for a guy on a 16-acre yard, and ended up still work for his company, doing agriculture stuff. I don't really know what else. I went to school.
You don't want to get into the bees or anything like that?
I guess I could. I still do some farming stuff on the side, cash cropping, help my mom with stuff. Bought a greenhouse to grow legal stuff, not illegal stuff, legal stuff. I just want to verify that. Buy 400 to 500 trees every year and plant them. I raise bees, honeybees. Got to go out and get stung every once in a while. Keeps you on your toes. I did coach sports for a little bit with my siblings when they were going through them. I pretty much just coached soccer, but other than that, not much else.
Nice. So, topics of discussion today. Let's see, what do we want to get into? I mean, if we
I got some good advice for the chat.
Okay.
If your computer is more than 10 years old, get rid of it. Get a new one.
Yeah, definitely. If your computer's running Windows 7,
it's time for an upgrade.
Time for an upgrade. Definitely time for an upgrade. So yeah, so some things that I thought we could get into would be some of the bee stuff, because I know you're big into that. and some questions that can maybe be answered on some of the bee stuff. I figured we could also maybe talk about some. We'll get a little bit into the way the world is shaping today, and things that are going on. But again, we'll try not to go too political with it. Uh, the We'll get into some video game stuff. We'll chat a little bit about games that we like, what we're seeing in the video game world as well. And yeah, so let's take the first topic, which was the bees. So, couple questions that I have with, again, I live in Florida, so I would assume most of the season is pretty much bee season. There's probably not
Pretty
much downtime for bees here, but what do you have to go through in Wisconsin when it comes to like this time of the year for getting ready for the bees?
Well, currently, this time of the year for the bees, we go out and check them. Um, Usually when it gets around 40 degrees or more. Um, and we just pretty much open the cover. We look to see that there's sugar and food in there for them yet. Clean out any dead bees that are in the entrance so that way they can get in and get out on super warm days, because when it gets usually 45 and above, the bees will come out to do what they call a cleansing flight. So they pretty much just all come out and use the bathroom and then go back in.
Nice,
And
nice. They've been
they
cooped up for a while. I guess they do have to go to the
yeah,
bathroom.
they've been holding it for 3 months. But they'll like push some of the bees that died off. They'll push them out the door and stuff, but sometimes it gets too packed, so you gotta like pull them out. Um, but yeah, we check to make sure that there's still sugar in the top and stuff. Make sure the moisture is not in there, because the moisture will kill them yet. Um, Especially the February, March months where it gets warm and then cold. Like the next 2 weeks, they're saying we're supposed to be in the 60s, upper 50s, low 60s during the day, but then down in the 20s and low 30s at night. So that's still the, you know, freezing and warming.
Gotcha. Um, so then about how, okay, so the question in the chat on this is why sugar? Is it
So
to make
a
the
lot of people
honey
will,
sweeter?
no, it's not to make the honey sweeter. But a lot of people will take the sugar and they'll make what they call like a sugar block. And it's like a 3 sugar to 1 water, and they mix it the best they can, and then they put it in a pan and let it get solid block of sugar. And they put that in the top of the box for extra feed for once the bees get through all the honey that they stored up for the winter, they'll crawl up to the top and get some of that sugar for food. But what we do is we open up our cover and we put down like a paper. It's almost like a paper bag, but it's like the light paper, the packing paper.
Mm-hmm.
We'll lay that in there, and then we'll put usually 5 pounds of loose sugar, just sugar granules in there, because we feel that when the bees are ready for it, they'll kind of chew through that paper and get up in there and get the sugar anyways. But the loose sugar will help absorb the moisture in the hive so it doesn't kill the bees.
Interesting. And then, so about how long from when it does start to get warm enough for them to continually go out, about how long until they're making, enough honey? I guess the first go round of honey that they're producing is kind of for themselves, right? It's to kind of get them back going.
Yeah, the first usually the beginning of spring, a couple of weeks. when the like when you'll see the willow trees start to blossom or the sugar maples, like some of those early blossoms, they'll start to the bees will start taking that and filling back in around their frames. And they only fill in the outside edges more so in spring because the middle is being used for laying eggs. Um, and once you get the bottom two boxes, which is the ones that they winter over with most of the time, once those are like full and pretty solid again, and you start seeing that there's eggs in all of them, um, you can start adding honey supers onto the top, which are just smaller boxes, and then you put a queen excluder down on top of the hive before you put the honey super on, and that keeps the queen down in the bottom two boxes. And then everything above that, the bees will keep filling just with honey, and that's what you extract at the end.
Okay. Interesting. So how long will it take you to actually get honey? Like how many times throughout the season do you guys collect the honey?
So far I've only collected it in fall, every fall.
Okay.
I
So
have enough
one
boxes that I usually just keep stacking them.
and then it's like
Um,
one big collection for the year.
yeah, yep.
Gotcha. How much
But like if we were to have a really good year where multiple hives are doing really good, I would either have to go buy more boxes or take some out and extract honey early and then do another extraction later. It all depends on what you want to do personally. There's a lot of people that I know that will extract spring, summer, and fall. Um, and then there's some people that will extract twice a year just because, like, we've had one hive from spring to fall. We've taken 6 honey supers off of it that we've extracted honey off of. And we've also had a lot of them where we've only taken 1 or 2. So it depends on how strong your hive is and how demanding the queen is and active and strong the hive is too
damn.
for how
And
much honey you'll get.
how much, I guess like how last year was it considered a good year, bad year?
Last year we had between 12 and 14 gallons of honey, which
Wow.
wasn't bad. Um, the first year we had 4 gallons. The second year we had 19 gallons. And the second year we only had 4 hives.
Damn.
Last year we had 6 hives. Well, we had 7 hives last year, but we only got 12 to 14 gallons. But 2 of the hives were like swarm hives that we caught, so they also didn't have the entire time to build honey up like they have in the past, like the other ones did, because we didn't have them all year.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And do they take so like with the swarm hives, they're separated, or do you commingle them in with a different hive?
Um,
Or are they able to? Do they fight? Like
they'll
how does
fight.
that work?
They'll fight
Okay.
to the death.
Dang.
Pretty much what they do is if you take 2 hives and try to push them together, the hive that's in the box initially will defend the queen. Um, and the other hive that you're putting in, their main goal is to kill the queen because
Damn.
it's not their queen.
Bees be brutal.
Yep.
Bees be
So the
brutal.
best thing that we do is when I catch the swarm, I try to find and see if I can find a queen in the pile. Um, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I can go into one of the hives that we have, and like last year I went through one of the hives we had and I pulled 2 frames of like eggs out of the box, and I put them in the new hive, and I put all of the swarm bees in that hive as well. So then they were able to make a queen out of the eggs that were in there. And because they made the queen, then they followed her.
Oh shit, it's a
So it's
process.
all like, yeah, it's all playing psychological warfare with the bees.
Nice. Nice. Take them out one by one. Um,
Like, I mean, even with filling the honey boxes and stuff, that's the whole point of it is bees, as long as there's room, they will continue to fill in honey. So you let them fill up their lower two boxes in spring now. And then when you start to see that they're full, if you don't put, if you don't make more room for them, they will swarm and leave because there's not enough room for them to expand and grow. So you have to time putting that next box on just right, because if you put it on too soon, they will skip filling up the bottom ones and keep working their way without successfully filling it the way they should. So then the second box too, like when you put that first honey super on, it's empty. Everything is empty in that one. So like we go through and we will check on them every 7 days, because the one hive that we had that was really good, it took them about 10 days to fully fill and cap a box with honey.
hmm.
So like when we put this box up there, like when the box is full, the honey super size, the box size that we have, when it is full, it will weigh about 40 pounds.
Oh wow.
So like once that gets filled and you see that about half to 3/4 of the frames are capped, meaning that the honey is done and ready to extract, then you have to add another box for them to be like, oh, there's more room to fill. So then they'll work their way up.
Okay. How
But then
often are you
once they
checking
fill
on
that,
those?
um, once they fill that, then you have to, like, you can see that they have honey in all of them, right? But if you put the next box on, they'll start filling the next box without capping the box that they currently were in. So you have to like strategically watch as they cap it to be able to figure out when the best time to put the next box is, so they can kind of split up and do both. Um, and once we start doing that, we check them usually every 7 days, so usually once a week, once every other week, depending. It depends on how fast the hives are. So like in spring, we'll be able to check every like probably 10, 12 days because they're slow yet. But once they start picking up and they really take off, then you usually knock it down to 7 to 10 days. You check it.
Okay. 7 to 10's not bad. So for somebody who's, I mean, you've said you've done this 3 years now?
This will be our fourth, yeah.
Fourth year. Well, this will be the fourth year. So
Yep.
3 full years. So somebody who's starting out and wanting to do it, what's kind of the beginning stages of doing it?
Getting your supplies.
And that's the boxes and
Yep.
the
That
frames.
is getting your full set of hives, your hive stuff, which is you'll want a bottom like baseboard with there's a little tray in it that you can pull out to clean stuff off that falls through. Um, then you're going to want your two bottom boxes that the queen will lay in. You'll then want your queen excluder that will keep the queen in those boxes, and then however many supers you want on it for honey. Some people only get two and they'll like put one on, let it fill up, take that one off, put the new one on, and then they'll go extract that one right away. Some people, I know one guy that had 14 of them stacked on top of his hive. So like kind of depends on how, if you want to, end up taking a ladder out there someday and crawling to the top of it and pulling boxes off.
So
Um,
a super is the boxes on top of the original
they
hive.
c- yeah, they call it the super is they call it the honey super. And that's just all honey boxes.
Okay.
Those are the ones you're going to take off before winter.
And then you're leaving that hive box for them to
You're
kind of
leaving
feed
the
off
two
of.
base boxes, yeah, for them to feed off of.
Nice, nice, nice.
And like in
Um,
winter up here, like once it starts getting cold, we up here because it's winter and we have the season, we go out and actually pull the supers off early, and then we have to slowly push the bees back down. So like there's a little trap door kind of thing that we put in the inner cover. And what it does is you take the top box off, then you lay it like the top super, you put that cover down, then you put the super back on. So what it does is it allows the bees to go back down to the next box below, but it doesn't let them come back up. So you slowly start getting them to leave the top box. Then you take that one off after 2 or 3 days, and then you put the next, you move that top cover down another box until you get all the way back down to just the base boxes for them over winter. And that will slowly start telling the bees that it's getting colder and they need to start filling the bottom boxes.
hmm, okay. Okay.
And then because they're starting to fill the bottom boxes, it's pushing the queen to not lay as many eggs. So it downsizes her thing, so that way they can prepare for winter.
Okay. So you've got boxes and frames that you've got to get to start building your hive. Clearly, you've got to get the bees. Where do you
Yep.
order bees?
There's all sorts of like bee supply companies that you can order from. There's also like for us, and I'm sure a lot of places have it. There's usually like a county bee group, like for counties. Um, and we joined our like the county south of us has a bee group, and we joined them. Um, but a lot of the times, like those county groups will have a guy in charge of placing orders, and then the group will just tell him what each individual person wants. And usually, if you can get into those groups, you can get a discount by how, like, if the whole group is buying a bunch of bees, you can get a discount for the more bees you buy. So it helps to go through like a group that gets together to talk about it, and you know,
Makes
and
it
actually the group that we go through every year, they actually some of the money that they raise goes to helping a kid from one of the school districts start out with a hive and start learning if they want to.
okay. Kind of like a FFA
Yeah,
type of thing.
similar to that.
Yeah. Like a Future Farmers of America for those that
Yeah,
don't know
so
what
it's kind of
FFA
cool that
is.
way.
Um, and then when you're extracting the honey, is there a machine? Is it how does the extraction work?
Um, the first year that we extracted, we there was a Amish guy that we met with, and he helped us he gave us some tips on how he does the bees. And he told us that anything we got the first year, he would extract for us. So we went over, and he had this, I'll be honest, he had this hodgepodge motor set up underneath a round drum with
Wait, an
little,
Amish guy with a motor? Is that allowed?
yeah, yeah. It was just mounted underneath, and it just, he had these welded on spots so that way, and he pushed the button, and you had to have a bunch of sandbags and stuff hold the platform down, and you kind of had to hold it too because the motor was way too big for that thing.
Hey, he was like, I want in and out, get it done.
um, but yeah, so we did it by him first, and then the second year, as I saw that we were getting so much honey, I'm like, Mom, we got to do something different here because I do it with my mom. So I'm like, we gotta do something different where we can extract more honey, do it ourselves, that whole thing. So there's it's called Hilco Bee, um, and it's a company down in Illinois. We bought a 8 frame honey extractor from them, and it's this big stainless steel drum, um, on legs, and you mount it to the floor or whatever, and then there's a little electronic thing on top for a little motor and stuff for spinning the rack that's inside, and you can put 8 of your honey frames in there at a time, and then you just slowly dial it up and let it spin. um, and then once you spin it for 5 minutes or so, 5 to 7 minutes, you slow it back down, and I usually flip the frames around just to, I think it helps get as much out as possible. um, and then I'll run it again for another 5 minutes, and that's how you extract it. But before you can do that, usually what my mom does this part of it because she doesn't care to stand on the machine and try to hold it steady while flipping everything around. You have to, we have like a tub kind of thing that we can set the frames in, and you have to take there's a honey knife that you use, and you have to cut all the way across because they capped all the honey up. So you actually have to cut all the wax off from what they capped, and that will open up all the honeycomb so that way the honey will be able to spin out of it. And then when we get done extracting it, that wax we actually melt down, and like my sister has made lip balm with it. Um, she used the wax to make sunscreen, and some lotion with it. They're
Oh, wow.
they're kind of talking about maybe trying to do candles with some of the wax. I sold some of the wax to one of my friends and my chiropractor, um, because he uses it so that way he uses it so he can like wax his fishing lines and stuff for when he goes out fishing. So he uses the beeswax for that, and then I don't remember what else um, he had said he uses it for, but he said he uses beeswax for a couple different things. So he got some of it from us for that. But
So you
yeah,
guys
other than
aren't
that,
just collecting the honey and then the wax goes to waste. You guys are kind of, finding applications for the wax and getting
yeah,
the
kind of
most out of it as you
experimenting with
can.
it, trying to see what's all out there, different things, stuff like that. My sister actually told me that she uses the wax she used it for some of the sunscreen she made, and someone had recommended and suggested that it would help with eczema because of all the
Oh,
allergies and
yep.
stuff.
Hmm.
That because the bees are actually taking that all from the plants and stuff, that using that in your sunscreen would help with your body building up a immune system to that or whatever.
Yep.
And I guess it has helped a little bit on my one niece. It helped her a bit, and she's
Oh,
doing a lot better about outside. But some of that too is also you grow out of some of that as you get older as well. So it probably helped it go a little bit quicker, kind of thing.
yep. Yep. Nice.
But yeah,
Okay. And then do you guys sell the honey or is it kind of family, use
uh,
or?
it is a lot of family use, but we also have a lot of family that will like buy it from us. We do sell it to like there are people that'll come and buy it from us, and a lot of people tell us that it tastes way better than the store-bought honey, just because there isn't any preservatives in it. But
Does
we
it
also
last
have,
as long? If there's no
yeah,
preservatives, like it's lasting just as long, correct? as store-bought
Yeah.
honey?
Well, it'll do the same thing as store-bought honey will. It'll crystallize and everything, and you just put it in warm water or whatever and let it, melt kind of back down to its honey state and
Yep.
use it as you want.
Okay. So the group, the B group that you're in or a part of, is that something that, I mean, how did you guys come about finding it?
Um, so we have a neighbor that he he knows, like, one of the guys that he worked with, or like that he talked bees with or whatever. That guy was part of it. And our neighbor actually went to a couple of the meetings, but he also decided, like, I'm not really big into that. He had his way of doing things and he just wanted to stick to that. Um, but when we were talking to him about it, because we initially bought some bees from him because he raises his own queens and his own starter bee things and sells them. Um, so we initially bought some from him before we knew about the group. So year one, our first two hives came from him. But then after that, we found out about the group. We started learning about it. And that's when we started to figure out that there was, like, there is anywhere from there's all sorts of different kinds of breeds of bees. Like, there's Russian bees, there's British bees, there's Italian bees, and like there's all different kinds, different names, whatever. Um, we stick to the Italian bees because they are the most docile out of all of them. Um, they say that there's a Russian form that is really aggressive. There's also a British strain
Imagine a
of
Russian form being
right.
aggressive.
Maybe it's just because they're in the U.S. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. We're allowing
um,
Russian bees on U.S. soil. That's crazy.
right, right. But there's a strain of, I think it's a British bee, like a strain from the British area.
They don't do much.
Every
They
third generation is really mean.
oh
So like there was a guy at the bee meeting the one day. He's like, I've had these bees for, 4 years, he said. And he goes, this every time I've gone out there, they've been perfectly fine. But like last year, he's like, the hive's about 300 yards from the house. He goes, but when I leave the house, I can't go out the back door without getting stung. And I'm 300
shit.
yards from the hive.
Oh, shit.
So like the bee group was like, well, what kind of bee do you have? And he said it, and they're like, oh yeah, that's one of the like the British strains. And he's like, okay. And they're like, well, if you've had them for 4 years, the odds are that the first year they may have survived, wintered over, but then you might have lost one. So you're probably on your third queen. He's like, yeah, that could be. They're like, put on your bee suit, put all the thick clothes on, go out there, dig through that hive, find that queen, and kill her, squish her. And they're like, that'll fix your problem.
So
So
kill
he
the
went out
hive,
there and
essentially.
no,
Oh,
no, just kill the queen because they'll re-queen. When they see that the queen is dead, one of the babies that she laid, they will make into a new queen.
okay.
So, like, he went out there, he said he dug through his hive. It was like an hour and a half. He found the queen, he squished her. And after that, he said the hive was nice again.
Holy shit. So every 3 years, kill the queen.
Pretty much. So I told my
Imagine,
mom, I said, don't get
imagine.
don't get that hive.
It's like the British monarchy, right?
Right?
Go kill the queen, and then oh, we're all good again.
God save the queen.
Yeah, not on that one.
Playing in the background.
Maybe that's it. They need
They
some
need that music out there.
anthem, some national anthem music going for the British national anthem. I didn't hear you mention anything about Mexican bees. Is that because they're walled off and not allowed in the United States, or they would be considered illegal bees? I'm just kidding.
That's a good question.
Who knows? Who knows? Um, so with the B group, you said it meets like does it meet during the off like months also or
Yeah. Yep. This
okay.
this B group does. I don't know if all of them do.
Yep. Yep.
Ours does because a lot of the times like they'll meet through winter and they'll be like, okay, guys, like when you get to like December, they'll be like, okay, how did your year go? Like, what did you see? What didn't you see? Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But once you get to like January, February, like now they'll be when they're talking to the group, it'll be okay, the weather's starting to warm up, like you guys should be checking on them when the temperature's like this or this. You should be looking for these kind of things right now. Like they kind of recap on everything that you should be doing during the time. And they kind of let some of the older beekeepers that have been doing it for many years take turns talking about it to kind of get everybody to learn it. And there's always new people joining too or coming to check it out. So like, gotta keep everybody informed and up to date.
So you guys, I know, I mean, obviously, I know because you've told me this, but like you guys have had mites before and everything.
Yep.
So what's kind of the upkeep to keeping the bees healthy, from a disease perspective and stuff like that?
So there are three different treatments that you can do to your hive. Um, if you notice your hive is starting to go downhill or get weak or whatever, you go out there, you open the hive up, you get like a glass mason jar, you put in half a cup of rubbing alcohol, you take a measuring cup out there, you go down to the bottom box, and you grab about a cup of honeybees from the bottom box because they're the younger ones, right? Um, so you grab about a cup of them, and that's usually about 100 to 200 bees, and you drop them into the mason jar and you kill them.
Hmm.
Then you dump the bees out on like a white towel or something, um, because what the mites do is they actually attach to the bees, and they pretty much kill them just being on them. They lay their eggs and all that stuff in them, and it's like their hosts that they're on. Um, so once you do the rubbing alcohol and kill them, it also kills the mites. And you just look through the white paper towel for they're little red dots pretty much. That's all you see is a little red dot. They're like
Is that
the
similar to
size
the
of the
mites
point
on
of your
Grounded?
pen. Oh, the mites on grounded are way bigger, dude. When you're that little guy,
Well, I mean,
those mites are huge,
I'm saying, does it look
But
like
yeah,
the same? Yeah.
similar, yeah. Um, so usually what they say is if you do that once in your hive and you have more than three for that, 200 bees that you just killed or whatever, um, you should treat your bees. There are multiple different ways to treat them. Two of the ways are using one way is this like it's a food patty kind of thing you put in there, and they kind of it smells very strong. Don't ever take a whiff of it. You'll pass out and fall over on the ground. Not speaking from experience or anything, just I firmly believe that somebody could very easily do that. But you take it, you open it up, you put it in the hive, you let it in there for 7 to 10 days, then you take that one out and you put the second set in there and let that work its thing. Um, the bee association that we joined, the county group, they have it's uh it's almost like a smoker kind of thing. It's an like a vapor kind of thing, and you can go and rent it from them, and you do that in fall, and like you can rent that from them, and you do that in spring. You can rent it from them, and you go and you like fumigate your hive, and you do that. I think 2 or 3 times you do that. Um, And then after you do that, they should be good again, and you do another mite check. Um, the big thing that they recommend is never doing the same treatment every time because your bees will get used to it. The Varroa mites will get used to it, and it won't be as strong
Effective.
to
Yeah.
do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when so you treat them in the springtime, is that
Well, you kind of treat them whenever you see they're getting bad. We
okay?
always check them in spring because, especially the new hives, like we always want to check the new hives, um, just because you don't know where they came from and you just want to be on the safe side. Because, so like Wisconsin, a lot of the bee keepers that I have met through the bee association group that I joined, and just people around here that do it, and from another group. There's a Discord for newbie beekeepers that I have also joined. And talking to some of those people, like a lot of, it seems like a lot of the colder areas, bees don't generally survive as good because of the weather. Um, so a lot of people have said if you can get your hive to winter over, it slowly makes that hive stronger to be more successful in wintering. Um, but they've also said that a lot of the mites that they see come in are generally from your hives that come in from southern regions. So like a lot of the people that I've talked to, there are some people here that will send like at the end of the year in fall, they will pack up all their bees one night on a giant semi, and the semi will drive all the way down to Florida or California or anywhere where there's not any cold weather, right?
Yep.
And they will unload all the bees down there, and you guys will have all our Wisconsin honeybees for a while.
Oh,
Then, when it comes time to spring up here, they go down there one night, they pack them all up on a semi trailer and bring them all back up here.
so they don't really have to worry about winterizing
So
the
they
hive.
don't worry about winterizing at all. But they also say that the year round, more like
Like
the more
active.
damp climates,
Hmm.
that kind of thing, like you're going to have the mites around more often.
Yeah, because they're not
Um,
dying off either.
yes. So then a lot of people are saying that a lot of those hives come back with the mites, and that's what makes it worse up here then.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, and it's the same thing with buying bees. Like, yeah, we can buy a package of bees, but they were probably the queens were probably raised from hives down south that they could do all year,
Hmm.
and they probably started growing them, got them in packages, and then sent them up here. So like we're probably just buying the same thing, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we always last year was the first year that the bee association had that when we got the hives, they were treated before we got them. Um, and the reason they did that was because there were so many bees that died well, 2 winters ago. There were so many bees that were lost over the winters that last year all of the big bee groups were like, okay, instead of paying $130 your hive, you're now paying $170, but we're going to treat all the hives.
Oh wow.
So like they did all the treatments on all the hives before selling them because of the amount of deaths that happened with the bees.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Wow, that's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot to it.
ridiculous to say that there's a whole science behind bees.
So you kind of talked about it a little bit, and I know anybody who's watched the bee movie thinks that smoking bees is a bad thing, but what essentially does it really do to the bees? Like, what's in the smoker and what does it do to the bees?
So I have a couple guys that I talk to that they feel that smoking the hive is bad for the bees.
Okay.
Um, I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like sticking you in your house when your house is on fire and telling you to breathe. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of sucks, you know?
Yeah. Those bees come out with emphysema and, some, breathing problems.
And that's what a lot of people feel like it's bad for the bees.
Hmm.
Some people have told me that they always smoke the beehives because they feel that the bees are more calm. While a lot of people feel that obviously the bees are going to be more calm because they're over there choking looking for air, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You'd be a little calmer, when you got out of the house that was on fire.
yeah, I ain't gonna come out of the house and run a 5 mile race. Like, I'm gonna come out of the house and take a couple deep breaths, right?
Yep.
And just chill out for a bit. But so like a lot of people feel that. What is in the smoker? I guess everybody kind of does stuff different. Everything that I've been told from a lot of people is they use they pretty much just put in like pine needles. Like we just
Oh,
use dry pine needles and light it up and do it that way. Um, we have I recently I asked in the Discord that I became a part of recently. I asked their opinions on it. And a bunch of people said that, they don't do it. They don't believe in it. A bunch of people said they do it on every hive and said it keeps them calmer. And then there was a Norwegian beekeeper in that group chat. He's up in Norway, or yeah. Um, he said that he looks at it as he always smokes his hives. He said on the calmer hives, he will do one puff of smoke in the bottom entrance door, and he'll do one puff of smoke in the top when he opens the cover initially. And he said he feels that by doing that, he is training the bees so that way when they smell that smoke, they get used to him coming in calmly and just looking at stuff. He's not there to steal anything. Um, so he said he does it that way because he feels that it's a learned behavior. He said some of the hives that are more aggressive, he does a little bit more smoke, but he said that's how he feels. Just that. And he said that he has noticed if he goes out there and does not take the smoker out there um, and smoke the hives at all, he said he has noticed that they will they will naturally be more aggressive overall because they are used to smelling the smoke and then him digging in there. So anytime that there's no smoke smell, now they think it's an intruder.
oh, okay. So for
So
them,
they're
it's
naturally more aggressive.
it's like a learned behavior, but
Yeah,
then,
that's what he feels he's doing is
but
teaching them.
at that point, all he's doing is just taking the smoker with him. He doesn't necessarily have to smoke the hive. They're just
No,
getting
he
that
just pretty much,
sense.
yeah, he pretty much just does one puff down by the entrance door and one
Mm,
puff on top when he opens it so they get that smell.
yep.
He's not actually like dousing the hive with smoke.
I mean, makes sense. Learned behavior. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's crazy. I mean, just the upkeep and everything. I mean, I know it's a intensive, I guess for you, it's a hobby, right? You're not
Yeah.
considering like again, you don't do this it's full time at this
No.
point, but just
No.
because of how much upkeep it is and everything, but like you don't do it as your full income or anything like that. So,
No. No.
um I mean, I think that's crazy that it's that much upkeep and everything, but I would say it's an expensive hobby. Um, most
It
hobbies
can be.
this day and age. Well, if you're expanding it, right? I mean, you've said
Oh
now
yeah.
you're up to how many actual hives?
Yeah, we
7?
can, if we put in actual hives, we could probably have 8 or 9 right now.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, you guys have all that land to be able to house
Yeah, we
all of
have a,
that. But I mean,
yep.
that at that point, then you're checking, 9, 8, 7, 8, 9 different hives in order to make sure that
Mhm.
everything's working. So then,
Yeah.
does it come down to like, okay, we've checked this hive, everything's good, this one's good, this one's good, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I didn't check that one in a couple of weeks, and like, or whenever, and it's like, oh crap, it died off, or it's not doing as well, or like, have you
Currently,
seen
what
that?
we do is we every 7 to 10 days, we pick an afternoon, we go out there and we check all the hives, every one of them we dig into. Um, the guy in charge of the president of the bee association that we're part of, he uh, he has 160 hives,
Holy shit.
and he said when he goes out to quote unquote check his hives, right? He said when you get that many hives, it becomes more of a spot check.
Hmm.
He said because you kind of go through them quicker, like more quickly. You kind of just feel around, pick up a little bit on some of the hives to see how much weight is kind of there. Um, he said some of it like he'll do, like if he's got a row of them, he said he'll do like every third one, and that kind of thing. But then he said when he knows that some of the ones he's checked are ready for more boxes, then he will go out multiple days and check all of them. But he said like when he does mic checks and stuff, obviously you're not going to tear down to the bottom of 160 hives to get a couple of bees to
Mm-hmm.
kill in each hive, so he does a lot of spot checking. um, but there too, if when you are putting honey supers on, if 15, if you have a row of 20 boxes and 15 of them are ready for the next box, but 5 of them aren't, well, then that's probably a good idea that that should be the hives you're checking, because the other ones are producing so much. They're strong, they're producing well. If any of the hives start slowing down a bunch, like those are the ones you want to be checking.
That makes sense. I mean, once you get to that point when you're doing it by yourself, then really how much time do you have in your
Yeah.
day to really be going out and checking your hives? I
Well,
mean,
especially that guy, because like that the president, the guy, he has a full-time job. Like this bee stuff is just his hobby. He calls it a hobby,
oh,
and he's got 160 of these
he's got
boxes.
160 boxes and he's calling it a hobby.
Yep,
Is he
because
also one
he
that
has a
sends them?
full-time job.
Does
No,
he also
he
send them?
winters them all.
Okay. Well,
So
I
he
mean,
has to wrap each individual one all for winter.
and that's a hobby?
To him, that's a hobby.
That's insane.
Hmm.
That's insane. Um, so okay. So that, I mean, that makes sense. It's again, it's one that, I mean, again, I know known you since you started this. So getting
Hmm.
into doing it, is it something that you felt like, you know, you'd have this much interest in today, for like 4 years later now?
Um, I don't know. Like, I guess I thought I was looking at finding a hobby, I guess, for a while, and I was like, what the hell do I do? Um, and I started seeing a lot of the farms in this area are logging out entire woods land and everything, and just making more fields. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put some more trees into this into this ground. So
Yeah.
I went and started buying trees. Well, you can only do so much with a tree. You plant a tree and you leave it go. Like that's
Yeah.
all you do.
Yeah.
Um,
Not a lot of
My
upkeep there.
siblings, yeah, I mean, out of all of my siblings, my brother and the next in line after me, my sister, those two, my sister and her husband bought a farm, but they also did a lot of snowmobiling for their hobby. My brother also did a lot of snowmobiling for his hobby, so they went out and bought snowmobiles and everything. And I'm not really big on snowmobiling, um, so I was like, I got to find something for me, you know. And then my my next the next sibling is my sister, who's the cat hoarder. Um,
Is that her hobby? Cat hoarding?
yeah, yeah, she spends a lot of her money. Like they go kayaking and they do some of that kind of stuff. But she does a lot more with animals. Like she's got two dogs in the house. One dog's pretty normal. The other one is deaf. Um, she's got one cat that's deaf and meows at 2 a.m. loud as it can possibly meow because it can't hear itself and it wants to eat. So they
Oh,
wake up all the time. She's got one that has no balance, so it's running into stuff all the time. And she's got,
oh, so it's
I
you
don't know,
after a few drinks.
me after a ton of drinks, first off. But like she's got her own little pet hospital going on, and that takes a lot of money, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then my youngest sister, she's got the three dogs and three cats here. But she's more into she does some of the soccer stuff. She's still in like high school.
Hmm.
That kind of stuff. She's still trying to find her hobbies, I guess you could say.
Again, it's
But
not a
yeah, then
bad
I was
hobby to get into.
no,
I mean, again, if you have the time and
yeah,
I
and I mean
guess
I was
the
at my grandparents' farm the one day, and Grandpa was talking about how he has only ever seen two swarms of honeybees out of the 50 50 some years that he's been on that farm. And as we were talking about that, and with grandma's garden and everything that she plants and stuff, and then I planted fruit trees over there and stuff, I'm like, what if I did honeybees? Something so stupid, but what if I did that?
yeah.
Like, I mean, I grew up, anytime I saw a bee, I swatted at the damn thing. Um,
And now you're just putting on a suit and swatting at the damn things.
no, I don't do that. My mom does that. I leave that to her. She's out there, swinging her arms, swatting at them, wondering why they're getting all mad. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe because you're hitting them.
That's funny. That's
But
funny.
no, I decided to do that, and Grandpa helped me a lot for the first 2 years. Now he kind of just comes out and kind of watches. Um, but if I wanted, like, if I really asked him to, he would put on his stuff and come out and really help. But he likes to just watch, and usually I got enough help with Mom out there and Mom's husband Scott. Um, but yeah, so I do that, and I've had other people come out and just check it out and try on the suit and come out and help a little bit, and
Yeah, just see what it's like. I mean,
yeah,
I think everybody again, maybe not everybody, but if you've ever had honey and you've ever wondered where it came from, and again, growing up in agriculture, we always have that curiosity of,
oh yeah,
the different
yeah,
processes and what it
yep,
entails. So, I mean, it would definitely be something interesting. Again, my brother in Pennsylvania does it, and I think last year his hive died off throughout the year, and
yep,
you know, there he misses it from what he said is he misses kind of, but I think I think he started the year before you, so this
okay,
would be year 5 for him. um he told me, he's like, out of the 5 years that I've been doing this, 2 of those years all of my bees died off in the wintertime. And it's
yeah,
the one year he did have the mites, and the other year it just got super cold and there was nothing
hmm
he could possibly do to, like, he wrapped
yeah,
them, he put blankets over them. it just got so cold that there was nothing he could do. And he, you know, the startup, I mean, it's essentially like starting up from scratch every single time you're doing that. So it's not something where, it's like, oh, well, let me just do this. And he doesn't have the land that you guys do, or the family
Yeah,
around him to be able to say, oh, hey, we've got this, wild
just
swarm of
swarm
bees over
here. Yep.
here. Can you come get them? So for him, he's starting from scratch just about every year. Um,
Yeah.
but it was always a process that, again, he was fascinated in with the process, because it was, um, when you're doing it for so long, right, and doing farming and everything, you kind of, it's nice to get back to those process, like a process of doing something. Again, for 21 years of my life, milking cows and stuff like that, I mean, you knew what the process entailed, you knew what the cost was, what the upkeep was. But then when you saw people who, I mean, really, even, people are like, oh, so you just had cows, it's the same thing as having like a beef farm. No, it's not. The upkeep is different, the what you have to do is different, the way you feed them's different. When you're raising cattle for meat, it's a lot different intake of stuff. I mean, there's some similarities, but there's just differences between raising them for beef and milking cows. And then,
Yep.
it's the same thing. Like we had chickens here. I mean, I live in the suburbs. We had 4 chickens here, and it was, just understanding the process of trying to take care of chickens.
Yeah.
And what it entails for that. And both of my kids did FFA at school, understanding agriculture and everything. And it was, they both took care of pigs for their school projects and everything. And even that, like, we didn't have pigs on our farm, so it was um, a whole different process of like, how do you take care of a pig? How does a pig grow from being this little baby thing to a 320-pound thing in like 6 months? I didn't
Yep.
understand that process. Like, so learning those processes and understanding that has always been kind of the nice thing. And it's probably something that's helped me to do the accounting that I do and everything. And now project management along the way, which is understanding processes and how can you improve them? How, like, again, you're probably learning more and more that you're doing this, the more years that you're doing it, like what's working, what's not working, um,
Yeah.
and ways to improve certain things. Or, okay, now I need to check the bees more often, less often. And now you've gone through what, four, well, it'll be close to 4 cycles. You now
Yep.
understand, like, this is the time of year I've got to do this, this is the time of year I've got to
Yeah.
do that. So it becomes a I'm not going to say easier, but it's probably a little bit more structured now than it was in the beginning.
Yep.
So, so do you
I mean, I guess one
notice?
of the
Yeah,
one of the coolest, like, I think one of the best things about the bee hobby is, like, with dairy farming, the big farms are taking over, the family small farms are going out, right? Um, with other, like, company things, like, the bigger ones are pushing the littler ones out. Like, that's what they always do, right? Um,
yeah, of course.
but like, what I've come to see in the bee stuff is a lot of the big bee group, like the big bee producers, honey producers, whatever, they actually are making, like, they make a lot of the bees to sell to the smaller people starting out, right? So like, yeah, they're making some money off of it, but like they also have a lot of expenses, right? So
Yeah,
they have to make it worth their while. But at the same time, like, a lot of these bigger guys, like, I think the biggest guy in the bee association that I'm part of, I think he's at like 200 hives or whatever. Um, but like, he shows up and he gives tips and tricks on how the guys with 1 to 10, 20, hives can survive. Like, he is the first person to be like, hey, this is what I do. This is what works for me. You guys should give it a try. Um,
it makes sense.
and a
Like
lot of
he's
these bigger guys too are like, hey, You come out and like they'll do some showings where like people can sign up and go out there and look at their how they do stuff. Um, and it's like it's cool because even the big guys want the little guys to survive. So like they will give you all the tips and tricks that they can come up with and answer questions all the time to try to get you to stay with it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they're not looking at you as competition.
Competition,
Yeah.
no, or anything like that.
They're looking at it as, okay, it's a hobby. It probably started out for them as a hobby as well, and they've just gotten so big into it
Yeah.
that it's become more than that. But they understand what it took them to learn and get it, and they
Oh yeah.
want to, you know, they want to. You're not competing for shelf space in the store with them.
No.
You know, they understand you're
But I
doing
mean
it on a small scale.
even if you were in some of that stuff, I think a lot of the big guys are so focused on bringing back the honeybee. Like
Hmm.
they want to see the honeybees around because it makes everything grow better. It makes everything produce better, you know? Like I thought it was kind of strange cuz the neighbor around us, he works with this huge canning company in Wisconsin, right? And he grows crops and the canning company comes out and sprays it and harvests it and it all goes to the canning company, right? Um, but when the guy, so like they come out and check your land and everything, check your soil in the beginning of the year, make sure they know where you're planting stuff, measure the fields up, everything, you know, whatever they need to do before the farmer can plant it. But the guy that came out the last time, he asked my neighbor um, for my number because he noticed a beehive and was asking the neighbor if it was his. And the neighbor's like, no, that's the neighbor. I just told him he could put it here because, you know, I like having the bees around for the crops. And the the guy that was out there, he's like, well, I want to talk to that guy. I want to let him know when I'm going to be spraying the fields and all this stuff so he can cover them up so I don't get spray on his hive. So I'm
Mm.
like, you know, it's kind of cool when a big canning company has people that are looking out for that, you know? Where like naturally you sit there and think, oh, they ain't gonna care. Like it ain't theirs. They don't have to worry about it. They're just out there doing their job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes
So like
sense.
I thought it was cool.
It does make sense.
And
All right.
they let us know both times, so we covered them up and it was good then.
So, one last thing on bees, and then we could obviously move on to another topic because Cody's probably talked for the past hour, um, which he said at the beginning he doesn't like talking. Sure. Um, so, you guys have your bees. I mean, you have a lot of land and different places that you're putting them. When you're doing the honey extraction, have you noticed like a different taste to different hives in different areas?
So we haven't our hives are not far enough apart for a lot of that. Um, but I got honey from one of our customers. That's like he's about an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute drive south of me. Um, I got honey from him not last year, but the year before, and it tasted different. Um, it was not as sweet as what mine was.
Oh,
Um, it also was a lot darker in color.
oh wow.
Um, so like depending on the pollen around you, depending on, you know, all that kind of stuff, the honey will look different. Um,
I mean, you see it in the
and
stores, right? Like especially here in Florida,
yeah,
we have like orange honey, right? From the orange groves, or there's the clove honey and stuff. So I get that there's the different like types and tastes that you're going to get
yep,
from the honey. But that's
yeah.
interesting that
And the color is also different.
and you said how far from you is he?
He's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes drive south of us.
Okay. So just
Um,
different, like a different
Yeah.
area, which is going to have different
Yep.
flowers, different pollen, and everything.
Yep.
So that's going to give off a different taste to the honey. So
Yeah. It'll be
interesting.
slightly different. My mom went down to the Bee Expo in Tennessee this year in January, and she said that there was like 100 different honeys you could sample in this one room.
Mm.
And she said there was a bunch of them that were, pretty good, but she said there were some that were so disgusting. She said she started making a comment about the one being so gross to her friend that went with her. And the one guy behind her started laughing, and he's been doing it for years, and he's got like 300 hives, I guess. And he told her that no matter what honey you try, yours will always be the best to you because you are used to those flavors and smells and everything around you.
That makes sense. Again,
So I was
like
like, that's cool.
growing up in Pennsylvania, I mean, the only honey we probably really had was clove honey, um,
Yep.
and like just normal honey. And when you come down here, I could tell you, like, when the first time I went to the store and bought honey, I mean, I was just normally go to the store, buy honey. I didn't even notice that I picked up like orange grove honey. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like you were eating an orange. That is exactly the taste. And you're looking on the ingredients going like, okay, so is there natural flavoring in here? What's going on? No, that's just the natural honey that's coming off because all of those beehives are all around the orange groves, which is probably the hives that you guys are sending, from when they're winterizing them and sending them down here, they're probably putting them around the orange groves.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I'm sure like they have certain companies or whatever that take them for a while, or you know.
um, yeah, so that's interesting. That's crazy. Um, but all right, so we'll move off the bee topic. If I could even remember after an hour of talking what the other topics were. So we'll get into a little bit. I see Ghostly put in the chat, talk about the new show Marshals. I have not uh, seen the show Marshals. I know it is a spin-off of Yellowstone. Um, and I've seen previews of it. I do plan on watching it. That's not something that I've gotten the time to do currently because, to be honest, I haven't even watched all of the show Yellowstone. Have you finished Yellowstone, Cody?
I have.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've watched Yellowstone 3 times all the way through already.
Okay.
I have not started Marshals yet, but it is on my list to watch. I've been trying to finish up some of the other things I'm in the middle of.
Yep.
But yes, it is on my list to watch, and I believe Marshals is on Paramount, right?
Yeah.
Ghostly
Yeah. It's the same channel that Yellowstone was
was
on.
always on.
Um, yeah, again, I saw the previews for it. It looks really good. I just haven't, honestly, I haven't gotten a chance to really watch much lately. I have so many shows that everybody keeps telling me to
Recommending.
watch. I mean,
Yeah, that's where
between
I'm at.
my daughter recommending the new Game of Thrones spinoff series, uh, now Marshals, I want to catch up on Tulsa King.
Got to finish Yellowstone.
Got to finish Yellowstone. I've also had a kick to start rewatching Sons of Anarchy again. What was the other one? Again, I told my daughter there's no way I'm watching a Game of Thrones spinoff without probably rewatching all of the Game of Thrones stuff again. When I do sit down, there's either a movie I want to watch or I'm watching a Twitch stream of some sort, or I don't know. I can't get into a show unless, especially this day and age. I mean, again, you and I both grew up with normal television. I'll call it normal, where an episode came out once a week and, you got ready Tuesday, this show was coming out and you knew the new episode was coming out. Now I'm so used to there being just a release of episodes that I have to binge watch a series. And I can't get into a series unless it's got like 10 episodes for me to binge watch, or else I just can't get into it. I don't know why. It's now that mentality change of like, if it doesn't have this many episodes for me to watch, it's not worth my time. I'll find something else that does have a bunch of those episodes for me to watch. I did start rewatching Schitt's Creek again, just mainly because of the Catherine O'Hara passing away. I think that's her name. I don't know. But yeah, like loved her in that series. Also rewatched both Beetlejuices that had her in it. So I don't know. I see like in the news or something, an actor or actress that passed away, and I'm like, oh, like what was it? James Vanderbeek passing away, and immediately went to watch Varsity Blues again. And then don't get me started on wanting to watch all of the Dawson's Creeks. I'll never get to watch anything. It's not Van Kilmer, it's Val Kilmer, Ghostly. Val Kilmer. And he passed away like at least a year ago. So I've already rewatched all the stuff that he was probably in. But yeah, so our next topic was going to be some real world stuff. Not that beekeeping wasn't real world, but some of the, again, I'm not a news person, so most of the stuff that I see, I form my opinions off of the clips and everything that I see. I'm a very, I'll call it logical person, where I'm not just going to take one side over another. And to keep things non-political, yeah, the conflicts that are going on right now is not something that I'm a fan of. And I'll say that from a consumer. Well, I'll say it as an American. I will also say it as a consumer right now. I do understand how our gas prices are driven by things going on in the Middle East. That is an oil mecca. And, you know, when you, again, I don't know what led up to it. I don't really care to know what led up to it. Decisions are being made in a way in which I think people are overreacting to things and making those decisions. And I think that there's a reason why people have advisors, and the brain power that we have in this country should be used to help us not have to go into those situations. And you could call it humanitarian, you can call it what you will on the reasons behind it, but there should always be a way that we could try to resolve things without having to basically use our military powers to get what we want. And it's just, that's my take on it. I don't want to pay $4 a gallon for gas when I have to drive an hour to work every day and an hour home from work every day. My wallet can't sustain that. And, you know, I'm sure his can, and all the other leaders of this country, their wallets aren't being hurt at all, because guess what? When they're being driven around to and from, they get to just expense it to the government as a part of their job. I don't.
And then we pay it.
And then we pay it in our taxes. And it's one of those things where, again, I voted for him. I voted for change. I didn't vote for anything other than not wanting to see the same things happen over and over and over again. The promise was change. The promise was transparency. The promise was, you're not getting a politician, you're getting a businessman that's going to turn this country into a moneymaker, and in turn help us to get some money back into the American people's pockets. Guaranteed, the amount of money we're spending on this conflict is going to start taking more money, because guess what, guys? We have to stockpile everything we're using. We have to then replenish. And I know this as a person who worked in defense contracting for 11 plus years. it's not cheap. It's not cheap for us to have to replenish a missile, to replenish an airplane, to fix a wing, to fix any little mechanical part. The amount of money that's spent on those things that are happening, and that's not even taking into account the military lives that are being affected right now. That is just strictly piece parts and everything else to rebuild this military surplus that we will have to have because we want to defend ourselves and we want to defend our allies and we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of. We need to try to figure this stuff out in a way that though that money doesn't need to be spent. I'm okay with us spending the money we're spending on defenses because I don't want another country thinking that they can come in here and take over America. That's never going to happen. I live in the South. I can guarantee you that just about everybody in my neighborhood would have more guns than those military personnel coming over. So it just is one of those things where it's like, I get it. We need it to defend ourselves, and I'm good with that. But it has to be, there has to be a give and take. There's meetings that can happen. There's treaties that can happen. There's just ways that the world, this isn't, this isn't a thing in which, we America should just take care of it. The world is involved now. We are a global power, and it's everybody that's affected. It's not just the United States and Israel and Iran that's affected. Everybody else around it, the whole world is affected now. So what you're doing has to be decided to, you can't just do it for your country anymore. You've got to do it for the whole world, or else it's just not going to work. Ace is saying, but the dog.
That's because the dog. That's because the dog on the chair ain't paying for the gas.
Yeah, no, I got to pay for her food, which is probably going to jack up because there's going to be some type of oil involved in producing it. And, now we'll be paying a shit ton more for that. Yeah, your take.
I still firmly think they should have gave us a warning that gas was about to go up. I could have filled my car up last week Friday. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Let me fill my car up.
Yeah.
Then jump the gas up.
Yeah. Yeah. Could we have gotten a warning to go stockpile some gas at 248 or something before I hit 329?
Because, to this day, my grandma has made multiple comments to me and my siblings of, I went up to Costco last week Friday with Grandpa, and I got gas when it was this price.
Oh.
And I'm just like, yeah, I'm over here and I'm paying 50 cents more a gallon, and Grandma's turning the knife on me, like jabbing that in there.
Damn.
She's so proud of it.
Damn, Grandma. Why couldn't you give us a heads up, Grandma? Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Why didn't she ask me to drive her to Costco?
Yeah. Graham, I'll drive you to Costco. Could you pay for my gas? Like, jeez.
I'd have paid for my own gas because I was up there.
And again, that was my thought process on the way home. Like, the Costco is near my house, so I'm gonna have to make it an hour ride home. Which, again, an hour ride in Jacksonville is only 30 miles, but still. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, shit, I should have got gas at Costco. It at least would have been cheaper than the 329, but I don't think it would have been that much more cheaper. It was one of those things where I was like, shit, I need gas. So I went ahead and paid it, but damn, it was crazy. Okay, Ghostly. Yes, I understand. There's also protests. Look, I'm not going to get into the protest things because I can easily go off on people protesting and all the other stuff going on in this country. And we don't have that much time to do a podcast. That could be like 18 different topics. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for, we have basically the ability to do whatever not whatever we want in this country, but you know, we don't have to. We can go out there and protest and speak our mind about pretty much everything that we want to, with no fear of repercussions. And I think that that's one of the best things about this country. Um, I have traveled to other countries, and they're great to travel to, and they're amazing to visit and see the history and everything else around there. I would never move out of the United States of America. There's just too much here that I've become accustomed to, and um, it's just one of those things. There, okay. Yes, Iran is knowingly losing the fight, and they're trying to make it a painful war for America. Guess what? 0 countries out there are going to win a fight if it is a military battle with America. There's the minute you get into a battle with America, you're not winning the fight. You're not going to win it. Sorry. But if you look at our military spend compared to other countries' military spend, we just have more. So you could
Well,
try.
aren't we more than like the next like 5 countries combined or something?
You could
like
take
that, or
all
something
of the
like
other
that?
countries, and guess what? The next biggest country, the next 10 biggest countries are our allies. We're not bombing them. So all of our military power is going to be used against all of these other countries that think that they're going to win a fight, but they knowingly know they're not going to win a fight. And in this day and age, winning the fight isn't whether or not you have more military power or not. It's the media. It's the social media. It's the backlash that's coming from it. That's when you're winning as a country. Make America look bad. That's what you're doing. You're making America look bad to all of the other countries. As long as you can do that, you're going to win, because we're then going to have to back down. We're then going to have to put our tail between our legs. We're going to have to walk away knowing that we now look bad in everybody else's eyes. But from a military power perspective, nobody's winning the fight. Nobody's winning the fight. It doesn't matter. You're winning in the media's eyes, and it's how the media spins it. Because again, negative is positive for the media. Everybody wants to see the bad. Show me the bad. Show me the bad. We don't go through a day without seeing something that our president or our leaders have done wrong for this country, because that's what's going to sell the ad space. That's what's going to make the media money. How does the media make money? They sell ad space. These people with big pockets, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch cute little puppies walking across the screen like you see behind me? Or do you want to watch some educated person talk about what the current president that not a lot of people like is doing wrong? That's what people are going to tune into. That's what people are going to talk about. They don't want to see the little kitties walking around and the puppies and penguins in Antarctica and stuff like that. Nobody's tuning into those shows. Everybody's turning into the news. Everybody has an opinion on it now. It's the biggest thing that drives the opinions, is the way the news is driven. So if the news is driven negatively, then guess what? Now everybody's opinion is on how bad the president is and how little he's doing for this country and everything else, instead of maybe going up to him and asking him, hey, so in the past, what's he been in there, 2 years now? In the past 2 years, what have you actually done for this country? What have you done to make this country better? And when he steps up and actually says what he believes that his advisors are telling him he's done for this country, nobody believes it. Nobody believes it. And I don't know. I mean, in my mind, I don't know what he's done right now, because the only thing that I can focus on is the conflicts that are going on or anything else that's happening. So it's difficult, but I mean, they won't settle peacefully, because they know if they keep drawing it out non-peacefully, we look bad. We look bad. again, it's the Middle East. Tell me at any time where in the Middle East there's been reasonable peace settled without some type of war conflict. I don't think there has been. They're, they're as stubborn as we are. Let's put it that way. They're not going to back down, and guess what? Our current president isn't going to back down. I could tell you that. He ain't backing down. He didn't become a businessman by backing down. He didn't become, some real estate mogul by backing down. He is not going to. And I mean, it is what it is. It's, what's going to happen is guess what, guys? 2 more years of this. We got 2 more years. And then you get to vote somebody else in.
Someone's going to undo it all.
You get to vote somebody else in.
Yep.
Make the right choice. Learn what every candidate is running on for their platform. And not only this time, but go look at what they did previously in running on platforms and if they actually did something with those platforms. Do not take a person in 2 years from now. Do not look at a person and go, oh, well, they're running on sunshines and rainbows. But when they went into the Senate or wherever else that they did this, 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 and this, which wasn't what they ran on. Because guess what? Nobody was looking at them then. Now you're looking at them and they go, what does the American people want me to say? It's not what we want you to say. It's what we want you to do. Do with it. But also get both sides. I'm a firm believer. Look, born Republican. I had an aunt who was a social studies, civics teacher, U.S. government, all that stuff. The biggest thing that I learned from her, and we grew up Republican, and she voted Republican pretty much no matter who was running. But the biggest thing we learned from her is form your own opinion. You don't, just because you're a Republican or a conservative or, I don't know, left wing, right wing, all this other stuff, liberal, everything else, what makes the most sense for you? That's the biggest thing that everybody needs to look at. What makes the most sense for you and how you want this country shaped to make it better, not just for you. I'm 44 years old, pretty much what you can consider probably halfway through his life, if not more at this point. It's not for me at the end of the day. It's for my kids and their kids and their kids. And that's what we have to be shaping is how, I want to know how it helps me now. You want to know how I want to know what it helps me now? My retirement, where my taxes are going, and how do I get more money in my pocket to be able to hand it down of generation to generation to generation and be able to buy and afford things that I can afford right now. Right now, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could probably be making $150,000 in this country and you're still living paycheck to paycheck with the way that prices of certain things are. So that's what it comes down to is what can you do for me now, but also what are you going to do to ensure that our future doesn't have these same struggles? And don't just take them in 2 years what they're going to say. We knew what Trump did in his first term, and then we decided we were going to vote somebody else in. And then we saw that Sleepy Joe did nothing, or nothing that we knew he was doing. He basically didn't even know half the time when he was talking up there what he was going to do. So we decided, okay, well, what's the lesser of the 2 evils? We've got Trump and Harris. And we all kind of felt like, well, she's being thrown into a ring where I don't know what her platform is. I don't know what she's going to do for me. She sat behind a guy who was a blubbering idiot at the microphone, who was just being fed information after information, and he couldn't even get it right. So we kind of said, well, the lesser of 2 evils here is this guy. That's what we got to get away from. We don't want the lesser of 2 evils. It's what is going to be best for us going forward in this country. And again, I think cutting a lot of the spending will help. I don't know how they approached the programs that they wanted to cut and stuff like that in the beginning, but we've got to take a look at where we're spending stupid money. And I do think I don't think our defenses need trillions of dollars of a budget. especially when you weren't using them. So maybe this is how he's going to justify it being trillions of dollars of spending, because we got to replenish it. But I mean, if you want to have defense in this country and you don't want anybody else coming into it, we got to spend the money to defend it. I talked way too long about politics that I said I wasn't going to get into.
Way to go. Way to go.
Yeah,
way to go, Trav.
way to go, Ghostly. He kept pushing the issue.
I'm the political nut, and I'm not even the one talking.
It had to come out. I try to hold it back. I again, if there was a Democrat out there that was running on things that I believed in and everything, I'd vote for him. Just because my little card that they have at my district says I'm a Republican doesn't mean when they hand me the piece of paper I have to vote for a Republican. Like, it's just the views that I have are strongly Republican views. But again, there's certain things that I believe liberals have the right view, and I believe Republicans have the right view. And ultimately, I try to find the right person to fit what I think is best. But again, I'm not an expert. I mean, if only the experts were voting for these people, who knows what this country would look like. I also think that we need to start using our brain power to stop fighting each other and start working together. And if we start working together, there's, sky's the limit for this country if we'd actually just start working together instead of trying to fight against each other as leaders. But yeah, so okay, so let's see, we talked about politics way too long. Other topics. So we are both video game lovers, and I'll call us enthusiasts at this point. So we'll get into a little bit of the video game talk. You guys can, if you're watching this on any of the streaming platforms right now, you know that I stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. And I've been playing Arc Raiders, been playing marathons, so extraction shooters, kind of because they're the fun right now for me. I do play Minecraft, League of Legends, really just a huge variety of games. So the topic that I'd like to talk about is where do you see video games going right now? Like, in your mind, right? We had this big surge with Minecraft. I'll call it a surge with Minecraft, right? That little sandboxy, create your own world type of stuff. And then we moved into like a Fortnite battle royale. Again, growing up, you only had solo games. There was no LAN parties. There was no connection. You played with your brother sitting next to you, and you split screened it and you played together. But then we had the Fortnites and the battle royales popped off for a little bit there. Call of Duty was the big thing and everything. Obviously, League of Legends has been around for what, 15 years now or something. I think it came out in 2011 or something like that. Maybe even later, but so that's still there. So, but you don't see a lot of, like, what's it called? A MOBA game? Is that what it is? You don't see a lot of those being developed. I wonder if it's just because they took the space. I don't really know. But I was wondering what your thoughts, Cody, were on, like, because it seems like now extraction shooters are kind of becoming the big, thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the extraction shooter games. I also haven't played enough, I guess, to really say, but I don't know. I always liked the adventure slow. Well, I like the adventure slow pace kind of games more so, I guess.
Yeah, like the crafting, building, like medieval,
Yeah,
Viking, what are they called? Survival games.
yeah.
Um, I mean, there was a big uptick in those for a while that were popular. Um, and everything. I mean, you had what did we play? Green Hell, um,
Hmm.
Sons of the Forest. You know, was DayZ a survival game too, or something like that? But it just seems like for some reason, like, yeah, you have. He wouldn't recommend Arena Breakout, but you have Arena Breakout, you have Escape from Tarkov, you have um, the really just now, I mean, Arc Raiders is obviously a big one, and obviously there's that big streamer that's on it, the Burnt Peanut, that's driving a lot of it right now, and which is why probably a lot of people are playing it. But he, again, he dabbles in a bunch of different games, but
Yeah.
the thing is he's goes back to Arc Raiders because that's where he's from. He's from extraction shooters, and
Yep.
I think it's a space that's easy to get into because you can kind of, you know, most people thought extraction shooters had to be military. Now you're finding out, like, kind of real world military ish. Now you're finding with Arc Raiders that they could throw some futuristic robots into it. And everybody will like that PvE aspect of it. And now Marathon's coming out. And with Marathon coming out, you're seeing it be even more futuristic type. And there was that one Cycle Frontier that would have been really good if they would have just figured out how to get the cheaters out of the game. And that's the other thing.
I think you're always going to have that, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's one thing that, I mean, again, that get me off on a tangent here. As an adult who works a full-time job and gets to maybe play a video game for 2 hours a day, I don't have the time to face fucking cheaters. Like, you're ruining the experience for the rest of us, for the ones who actually do spend the money on the game. Like,
Yeah.
those are, you give me a game that I'm going to enjoy,
But
and
I
I'm
mean,
going to,
personally, I think a lot of those cheaters are just, they're probably people that are just bad at the game and are like, huh, I'm going to find a way to
yeah,
troll and have fun and,
they have
you
this
know,
complex where they have to be the best at a game. Well, guess what? There's no rank system.
yeah.
What are you the best at? You shot me, you took my loot. Guess what? I'm going to go and I'm going to put a kit on and I'm going to go do it again. At the end of the season in Arc Raiders, we all had to find, we all had to get all of the stuff. We all had to get $3 million, and then we got our 5 skill points. Well, guess what? I did it without cheating. You might have done it in 3 days with cheating, and it took me the whole season to do it, but I didn't really give a shit. I wanted to keep playing it. So you didn't do anything to hurt me. What did you get? A clip that shows you're cheating. People can tell now if they watch streamers who aren't cheating and they can see how a person who sits there for an 8-hour day and does it on a regular basis and learns the mechanics and plays this game regularly, if they can see how that person, the time to kill from that person compared to you streaming, putting a YouTube short up there of killing 15 people at once with 4 shots that went through a wall, guess what? They know you're cheating. Nobody, you're going to get the hate views. Good job. You're the same as our national media. But like, at the end of the day, nobody's watching you because, oh, you're great at the game or you've got a lot of skill or you're entertaining. They're watching you to see how much more you're going to cheat. And guess what they're doing? They're taking a clip of you cheating and then they're breaking it down and putting it on their YouTube short of how they caught this guy cheating. It makes no sense.
Yep.
Why ruin the experience for everybody else? You're ruining the experience for everybody else in the game all because you wanted to spend X number of dollars hacking. And now they're getting to the point where to combat this, to combat it, they're going to ban your account. Well, okay, now you're going to go spend another $40 on it. And I just don't like, and you spent how much money on the hack? Because guess what? They're not free anymore. You can now pay for these things. So you now pay for a cheat and a hack. And then now you're going to just keep dropping $40 to keep playing a game. I don't like, if I had $40 in my pocket to throw around, I'm going to get some food with it. I'm going to buy a new microphone. I'm going to buy a new computer setup. I'm not going to be wasting it on continually having to buy the same game over and over and over again. That just makes no sense to me. But if you have that money to throw around, I mean, you could throw it into my pocket, hit the sub, hit a like, do something to gift to this channel, come in the chat. I don't understand what the reason is behind you can, well, okay, yes, you can, so you can family share. Okay, so now here's the new thing with that, with the family share on Steam. One of the ways that they're looking at combating this is it's not going to be, you have to have a brand new account. You're not going to be able to family share the game. That's going to be that's going to be the way that people, the way that these companies are going to combat this is they're going to tell Steam that you can't family share this game. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to tell Steam there's no more, there's no more family share on this. And who was it? Marathon came out and said it. You're caught cheating once, permaban. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Permaban. And I feel like that's should be the way in all of those games, all of those multiplayer games, right? Again, I've played Minecraft and turned cheats on in Minecraft, what you would call cheats, right? It's whatever. I wouldn't do it on a multiplayer server. I'm doing it on my own little world because I want to go find something and make something nice, or, I'm having a survival world to it. Again, it's not cheats. It's just they have mods. There's mods out there for you to do this stuff. That's allowed. There are multiplayer servers that ban certain mods. Therefore, you can't use those. There's a difference between a game allowing you to modify the game and then just blatantly cheating in a game. And I'm sure Ace, he's a Rust guy. I'm sure he's seen the cheaters and the hackers and everything in Rust, because I know that they're out there. And it's, again, to me, it just ruins the experience for everybody else that, is trying to enjoy a good time playing a game. Again, I have 2 hours a night maybe, to play a game. I don't want to run in. It just pisses me off, and then I'm just going to rage quit, and I'm going to be like, all right, I'm done with this game. And that's what it's going to come down to. But I do like the fact that they're trying to get around it. They put the statement out there, oh, it'll be a 3-strike rule, blah, 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 blah. And now they've turned their cheeks on Arc Raiders to say, no, now it's going to be a, permaban. Basically because Marathon came out and said it. So I think, that'll be good. They're going to see, permaban them. I would like to see how they're going to permaban them. Now with VPNs and changing IPs all the time and stuff like that, it'll be interesting to see how they can get around. They'll account ban, but I don't think you can IP ban anybody this day and age because there's so many ways around, your IP address. So you could just go get a new IP address. Is there a way to hardware ban? I mean, I guess they're making you download the anti-cheat on your computer so they could push it through the anti-cheat. I'm sure it's in those. Everything you've downloaded, Cody, have you ever or gotten? Have you ever read the terms and conditions?
Not really.
No, you skim through it. You're like, oh, this is the standard terms and conditions. Build that in to the terms and conditions. Caught cheating,
Yep.
perma ban. It's already on there. They could do whatever the frig they want
Yep.
because the minute you put it on your PC, it's theirs now. I mean, what was the
Yeah.
what was the South Park episode with Kyle was taken by Apple because he agreed to the terms and conditions, and which basically meant that he was theirs now. And it was like in the terms and conditions in the fine print, there was like, we have the right to just take you and do what we want with you or some shit. Like that's honestly, you would need a friggin' college degree in legal, become a lawyer in order to understand some of the terms and conditions that are out there. So yeah, I mean, that's if they could send a signal to the motherboard, great.
Yep.
Do it. Shut them off. Make them buy a whole new PC. I mean, see if they're willing to spend that money now. So yeah, so that handles. But again, I think the video game world, if I look at it, because I do play, I do play a decent amount of variety of video games.
Yep.
It just seems like, I guess what's finding my interest now is the extraction shooters. I do still like playing the simulators, like, Farm Sim, Hunter Call of Wild, some of the simulators that are out there. Again, dabble into Minecraft. I'd like to get back into maybe doing some Ark Survival. It just is such a hardware drain. It's so freaking huge that I don't know if I want to re-download that game. It's a fun game to play. Loved playing Ark Survival, but I don't think I could get into that. But we also have fun playing all those like fun games, right? Like the RV There Yet.
Yep.
What's the other ones we get? But it's when we get a group of people, right? You get that group of people that want to play. We'll get Panda and Bernie or Aiden to play with us, like the bearded. What was the bearded tavern?
Yeah, the Bearded Tavern.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, so
Beard Tavern.
Yeah, so there is some, and maybe that's going to be the shift, is more party games, right? Where it's like teamwork together, and everything. And I hope they make that shift. I love those games. That's a huge pull, right there. If we can find those games where you just get a bunch of us together playing online and just trying to complete tasks, like I love seeing how we can actually complete them and work together to get them done. So, all right. So what was our other topic for today?
I don't know that you had another one.
I'm trying to remember. We hit the video games. We hit the political, non-political talk, gas prices, and I really wanted to get into the beekeeping because I really enjoy that. I thought that was a good amount of time that you spent on that, and I know it's something that you really enjoy doing. I think next week we'll get into a couple of my hobbies, which I have like 50 of them going at once now. We can get into talking on the trading cards that I've been getting into.
Yep.
Again, there's just so much that I could talk about as far as like stuff that I do around here, taking care of these lovely beasts behind me. And then getting a house ready to be sold would be one thing, which is going to be crazy. But there's going to be a lot of content coming out with this. So if you are out there watching, or if you're going to watch after we upload this or something like that, I mean, stick around, because we're going to try to do this once a week. Typically on Wednesdays will be kind of that downtime day for us to just vent about everything going on in our lives. We'll just bottle it all up for 7 days. We'll let it all out on a Wednesday.
There you go.
And then I know Cody had some topics this morning about talking about women. We will leave that for another we'll leave that for
Talking
another
about
day.
printers,
Print
laptops,
printers,
computers.
laptops, the women in his life and how they make his life difficult on a daily, almost hourly basis. Um,
Difficult is an understatement.
but yeah, I mean, it's again, there's going to be a lot of good topics, good content, and again, if you are watching afterwards, throw some comments in the video. Um, Lily, Lily, you could stick around to next week, Lily, and you can hear Cody rant about women, not specifically you or anything like that. Um, and we won't even specifically make it anything about a specific woman. We will just generalize it to all women out there, because look, if there's one that frustrates us, there's multiple that frustrate us. And we'll give you that guy's perspective on what's going on there. We'll also have, I'm trying to line up some people to kind of come on. We'll have some of our friends on. Maybe we'll get Lily. Lily's in the Twitch chat right now. And if you don't know, she does have, I believe the books are still out there on Amazon. She's a best-selling author. I don't know if it's best-selling, but she's a selling author. And really one of our goals is to get her to become a best-selling author so that she could just buy us the houses that we really want in this world. So, she's our cash cow.
Villas,
Yeah, we need that villa in France. So she's our cash cow. So we'll just keep pushing. Oh God, what was that? OneDrive, great. So yeah, we'll get Lily on here. She could talk about her book. She could talk about the process of writing a book as an author. And yeah, we can get her on here. That'd be great. We could get Ace. We can get Andy on here, talk about New York, talk about what else? I mean, he's in the banking industry. His wife is a teacher up in New York, and the three amazing kids that he's got and the crazy world that he has. So I would have to definitely schedule something with him because I don't know if his Wednesdays are even available. But yeah, we'll get some guests on here so it's not just me and Cody always talking. Maybe we'll get that ghostly guy in the chat to join us during one of these and give us the 18-year-old perspective. We can, go. Ace and I can talk about our past beer making experiences. So yeah, we'll have a lot of topics, guys. It's definitely something you'll want to stick around for. Again, the plan is to live stream it every Wednesday and try to get it out there on Thursdays to whichever platform we could try to get it to at this point in time. So, yeah, so I think we'll cut it there. We've got some good topics for next time to discuss. And Cody, thank you for talking about all the bee stuff and getting a lot of perspectives. So yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you have a really good Wednesday, and I hope you have a great Thursday and rest of your week going on. And